Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and now game 3 here on Star Station between Reis and Adel. And what are we going to see between these players? Now, I'm not quite sure why, control, I can either swap the locations here, so this is on the top left. Oh, yeah, it actually fixed that. So Reis is now on the top left and his minerals are also up here. And what happened down here? Why did he say, wow? What happened? I don't notice. Apparently there was a very large lag spike somewhere, causing a bit of a problem. All right, let's take a look. As Adel is spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map on Star Station. Meanwhile, Reis is spawning on the top left. And this was one thing that I never quite understood. How could this station, what value does this space station have, or whatever you guys want to call it, have if it's not even defending or sitting in a particular location? It just seems to be flying through space for no rhyme or reason at all, other than, hey, I can fly through space. Now, also another thing I've always found very odd is whenever you look at StarCraft and it's not at that 45-degree angle, the game almost looks unrecognizable, doesn't it? It's just like, this looks like a completely different game. Yes, I know the probes, I know all these units here, but the game just feels different, doesn't it? All right, let's go ahead and fix this now. Yes, my eyes are not deceiving me, as we see a command center first coming in from Reis. Meanwhile, a much more traditional build coming in from Adel. And I think Adel's just made a number of those mistakes in the previous game. Getting that second pylon late really came back to haunt him, as his mothership core, his early stalker was late. His zealot got shot down way too early. Just so many problems, so many issues early on. Now, it is interesting to see Reis coming in with this particular build here. Sorry, phone just completely caught me off guard. But yes, now a double barracks coming in, and this build is very similar or reminiscent to a Wings of Liberty build. Wings of Liberty style, where you try to go to command center first, and then you normally follow it up with 3 barracks. I am curious as to why it's only 2 barracks at this time, and I'm wondering when these refineries will be placed down. The Widow Mine and the factory has become such an integral part of the Terran defense that you really don't use mass marines anymore. And with that, you kind of need to get gas, and if you want those excuse me. If you want those Widow Mines and other units there. All right, coming back around. Nexus is down. Cybernetics core is up. You can see we are going into a 3rd barracks now. And Reis is just really holding on to this expansion. There's no real way that Adel can place down any pressure. The window of opportunity has already closed. You can see Adel sees that there is a bunker in position there, and he's just got to wonder what is happening beyond the fog of war. Unfortunately, apparently that stalker cannot see that far and cannot do very much at all. Coming back around, SCVs are there. Actually, give me one moment. All right, my apologies there. Let's go ahead and get back into the game. So far, Reis is still sitting over here in the top left, as we now see an SCV able to run by into here. And that is an actual big mistake by Adel. Adel doesn't want to tip his hand in terms of tech and in terms of being just allowing his opponent to see what's going on. We're going to see a group of Marines now making its way out. The Stalker gonna get shot down here. A group of Marines just stutter-stepping their way forward, quickly taking down that Stalker, and Adel does not seem to be on his game, as we now see Reis moving out. This is a potential large threat already brewing, already building up. Reis most likely having a slight economic advantage with those 2 mules compared to the 32 SCVs. there is a fair number of Marines now just hunting and looking for proxy pylons, wanting to make sure that when his units finally do engage, he doesn't have to deal with, say, some zealots and a freakish run-by. Coming back around, Stalkers now looking to do a bit of retreating, as well as we are getting up that 4th gateway. 4 gateways on 2 bases. We can see Blink now coming into play, and it really is going to come down to micro for Adel. Adel has not been able to really get ahead in terms of supply, and he hasn't really been able to tech as freely as many Protoss players would like. He has not gotten the Colossi, he has not gotten the Psystorm, and with that, the Terran bio has just been absolutely horrific for him to deal with. Reis now moving back with these Marines, and in this game 3, he's probably thinking to himself, you know what? Bios worked the first 2 games. There's no real need to change anything right now. Starport, factory, reactor now coming in on that factory. We are most likely going to go into double medevacs, and without a robotics facility, Adel is not going to even force Reis to get Colossi. That means that this starport will be free to train exactly the units he wants, just medevacs, making sure that it is very, very well balanced, as we're already seeing the level 1 weapons upgrade nearing completion. However, combat shield still not done. We should be seeing that started up in just a moment. Meanwhile, Adel is going to be making a move forward with these Stalkers and these Zealots. I don't know if this is game 1 or game 3, maybe. The location where I pulled these games from are out of order, but so far this is just having me on edge here, as Adel is going to try and walk into a situation that is simply no good for him. Coming back around here, Mothership Core is nearby. You can see that the Marines and the Marauders are there as well. SCVs have completely surrounded this, as there you go. There is the engagement, taking down a little bit of the units. Medevacs now healing, and there is a time warp on the ramp. Not that well positioned, as the Marines will be able to run behind that pretty well, but some beautiful blinking coming back as the Marines are now going to try to engage here. See, this is really where you want that time warp, and it's not happening. All right. Mothership Core now trying to chase forward. It looks as though the bunker has fallen. SCVs are going to fall. That turret could fall as well, as, oh, a beautiful hit there. Adel needs to be careful, perhaps blinking back with the lower hit point Stalkers. And this is the micro battle that he really needs. He is going to pull back. He is going to disengage, as the Mothership Core is still there, waiting on the additional 75 energy, so that the Marines and the Marauders cannot really get in position. With that time warp, it should perhaps buy him enough time and use that range to his advantage, as the SCV is now getting taken down. Stalkers, oh, able to blink away from another attack there. Low hit point Stalker now trying to regroup, as we already have 1-0 upgrades and the combat shield nearing completion. Stalker's now going to try to engage here. What's happening? This is not the location you really want to be fighting, as there's another time warp, but not that well placed. All right, Mothership Core trying to engage Marines, Stalkers. You really want it on the center of that ramp there, so that not that many units can, or that there's a bit of a bottleneck. Oh, a big, huge move there, blinking up onto the high ground. The Marauders now sitting there. What's going to be happening next, as we are now trying to engage? Stalkers now coming in from the low ground, and this is perhaps a bit of a move here by Adel. Adel is coming out ahead here, and now trying to actually make a move forward. Is he going to be able to blink forward and perhaps finish? Yes. All of the SCVs unable to get within melee range on the larger group of Stalkers, as the SCVs now pulling together. Adel is now in a 5 supply advantage, as we are going to see Reis now back off with his orbital command. This is a huge move, a huge move, as the Stalkers are now looking to take down the refinery and hold on to an economic advantage back at home. Harvester count 44 to 29. This is a huge play, as Adel now with a very small advantage in terms of he's actually behind in his army supply, but only ahead in terms of workers. He needs to know when to get the heck out of here. He cannot engage well off of this location, and I gotta believe he knows that. Adel is just gonna try and hold Reis to 2 bases while he takes an expansion of his own, and hopefully not overcommit with these Stalkers. You can see that the Stalkers are backing off just as they are getting low on hit points, but that's not what you want to do. You want to back off just as they're getting low on shields. If you actually back off as they're low on hit points, the second time around they'll be taking too much damage, like that. All right, not even blinking away, as we still see a 15 supply advantage there. Worker 52 to 31, army supply 52 to 46. Also, Reis in a little bit of a sticky situation where he simply has too many medevacs. What is that? 9 medevacs for I don't know how many Marines and Marauders, but that cannot be balanced whatsoever as the Stalkers finish off the refinery. There is another time warp. Are we going to see a bit of an engagement here as the units are going to try and engage back and forth? The Marauders are not going to really be able to fight here at all, and they're not going to be able to get in position. All right, what are we seeing here? There's the engagement. Stalkers now blinking back. Marines now trying to walk down the ramp. Another Marine will get taken down, and this is still looking so good. Reis has no real opportunity to try and walk down that ramp. If he walks down that ramp, there is simply too big of an army there to meet and greet him. Meanwhile, all of his units will be simply stuck on the ramp, unable to engage. There is the stim. No time warp there. A beautiful move. Is it going to be enough? Stalkers are peeling away, and I do believe that Adel does have the advantage here. Mothership Core does get taken down, as we see Stalkers are actually falling. How many Marauders and Marines are there? And it looks as though this is actually a little bit of a crazy engagement, as yes, Reis is able to push back Adel. All right, so arming supply 57 to the 57 to 24, as the Marines and the Marauders can still look to engage here. This is looking very, very good for Reis now, as he's going to be reestablishing up his natural expansion. Adel, though, still not too far behind. He has a good number of minerals back at home in the bank. And what is he going to be doing here? All right, trying to pick off medevacs. Able to blink away there as the medevacs now pushing their way forward. Another round of Stalkers coming in. But all Protoss players know you cannot win off of gateway units alone. You need Colossi to really deal with this tightly packed group of units. This is not the engagement that he wants to be in. Coming back around, Stalkers ready to go here. Marines and Marauders pushing forward again. It looks like a round of Zealots going to try and warp in. Is it going to be enough, as some Stalkers are getting picked apart? Zealots now trying to be warped in still. They're going to engage, but they only blink back just in time to leave all of their Zealot friends to death. Adel, who looked like he was in dominant control of this game, has let his micro slip, has let his judgment slip, and has let the game slip, as he still does not have that much tech. He does have blink, but his army supply is simply too small. 79 compared to 36. The workers 60, as we are now seeing all these Marines and Marauders finishing off the third base. What was almost a surefire victory for Adel is now looking to be defeat. Reis having way too much momentum on his side. Marines and Marauders still moving their way forward with 1-1 upgrades, and now going to take down a couple of probes as they try to sneak back in. All right, Stalkers now making their way forward, and this really has to do with the unit size and the unit radius of the units themselves. These Stalkers are not as tightly packed together as these Marines and Marauders, and because of that, the DPS per square inch, or just per pixel, so to speak, is a lot less. You can see that the Stalker is going to try and run away, but another Stalker or two is able to back off here. What is going on? Adel now trying to reinforce from behind. Medevacs quickly switching gears as the Stalkers do not want to engage. 1-1 upgrades showing their effect as the Stalkers able to blink away once more. Stalkers need to find a way to get back up onto the high ground. Adel now down in terms of supply and almost down in terms of army, as we now see Reis also taking up his third base back at home. All right, things are looking good for the Terran player here. Marines and Marauders just going to simply walk inside the base, and he is going to be in a very, very good situation here. Nothing to really stop. All Adel can do is hope to stop the reinforcements, but with the medevacs nearby, healing, keeping this Marine Marauder army alive, I do believe that Reis, the Terran player, will be able to finish the game. And there is the GG. Well played, Adelscott, knowing when he's been beaten, and also knowing when he's been beaten by a top class player. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 5, even though it was only 3 games. Hope to see you guys on BattleNet.